So, all right, let's move on to the highlight of my night. I was absolutely giddy watching this segment because this segment did so much to support my fan theory that it was amazing. John Cena knocks on the dressing room door, tells Heyman that it's showtime, pulls him out. Heyman obviously is just begging him, be reasonable, I'm a father of two, blah, blah, blah. Cena brings Heyman out of the ring and says that it's the moment we've all been waiting for. And, Heyman does try to escape, but Cena pulls him back, and then they kind of go back and forth. Heyman from his knees, just kind of begging him off. And then it kind of starts to turn because we go from John Cena being in the position of power and Heyman trying to beg him off to Heyman realizing that Cena will not hit him because that would make him a bully. And Brock Lesnar is a bully, and Cena won't be Brock Lesnar, which is why Cena cannot beat Brock Lesnar.
Right.
It was brilliant. I loved it. Do you want to add anything? You want to talk about what happened so far before we move on?
Well, the events leading up to this, you had Paul Heyman trying to beg his way out. And of course that didn't work. He tried to convince the Great Khali to let him out. Khali shattered his cell phone. So now he's an abducted father of two who's simply an advocate who's now out a phone that I'm sure cost a pretty penny. So that's great. So the destruction of his personal property. Then, we get to that and all the events that you laid out, Ashton. And this is where Paul Heyman is at his best. Because I loved that he flipped the script. I really do. It was amazing. The fact that he could go from victim to manipulator in no time flat shows just how crafty he is. Because I think you even made a great point, actually, when we were talking about this together as it was unfolding. And you said, if this was last year at this time, it may have been a trap by Paul Heyman because he was in the program with Punk, and it seemed like every time Heyman would deliberately allow himself to be cornered by Punk, it was only to spring Ryback or Curtis Axel on him.
Right.
Or, Brock Lesnar for that brief time they were in a program. Here, it definitely seemed like Cena had him legitimately cornered, but here it's even better because Heyman shows his ingenuity to survive. And that's why I like this, because it shows you just how slimy he is and how desperate he is to cling on to his own personal welfare.
Yeah.
This was Heyman at his absolute best.
Yep. Dude, this segment was amazing to me because I said that John Cena is going down a path of becoming a less likable person. And in doing so, he's having the realization that he is getting older, his body's starting to fail him, and he is going to eventually come to the realization that he can't hang anymore with the big boys. He's still in denial, and we already knew that, right?
Right.
But this segment, Paul Heyman said everything that I've been saying, basically. Paul Heyman said that John Cena will not stoop to Brock Lesnar's level because that would make him a bully, and then Cena stooped to Brock Lesnar's level. Cena is slowly starting to kind of go down the path that I said he would, and I personally think that it started the night after SummerSlam when he did what he did to Bray Wyatt, because it's like he's trying to mimic Brock Lesnar because he realizes that unless he stoops down to Brock's level, he cannot beat Brock.
Exactly. It's like Heyman said, the only way to beat a beast is to become a beast. And, I was wondering if anything was ever going to happen with Cena, because you really excited me with our discussion of, your Cena fan theory. And I talked about it with some friends of mine. They really seemed to like it. And I was wondering if we were going to get anything like this from Cena ever since the WrestleMania angle with Bray, where he really seemed to be like overly aggressive with Bray, and then it kind of seemed to be dropped, and now it's getting picked up again here. So you have to wonder if it's been this long overarching thing. And then this segment with Heyman, Heyman pointed out, you could hit me, you could do that, you could take it all out on me, but what does that make you? You'll just be doing what I asked you. You'll just be doing it in a different way. I asked you to do it to them, signaling to the audience. But I'll settle for me because it'll make you the monster that I've been trying so desperately to pull out of you and to ultimately make you a Paul Heyman guy. Like, it just blew my mind how he's just like in Cena's ear. And I think you had the best analogy, Ashton. We have been saying for the longest time, I think in one of our earliest Twit Wows, actually, you and I said, you know what Cena needs? He needs a Joker. And I think he finally found one in Paul Heyman. And that was the point you brought up.
Yes, dude. Paul Heyman reminded me so much of the Joker here. Because, John, have you ever seen The Dark Knight, the movie?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me when Cena had Heyman by the collar and Heyman was just egging Cena on, do it, hit me, come on, you can do it. That didn't remind you of when the Joker and Batman were in the street and Batman was driving his bat cycle at Joker, and Joker's just like, come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Hit me! And he was freaking out. And then freaking Batman realized that if he would hit him, he would kill him, and then he skidded out, and it gave the Joker the upper hand. That's exactly what happened here.
See, I don't remember that scene. The scene that it made me think of, but then again, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly because it's been a few years since I've seen the film. But when they're in the interrogation room and Joker's just kind of like telling his ideology to Batman, and he says, "These civilized people, they'll eat each other," and just really trying to get under Batman's skin.
And then, dude, even in that, freaking Batman's like, "Why do you keep trying to kill me?" And Joker just cracks up laughing, and he's like, "Kill you? What do you mean kill you? You complete me." That's freaking Heyman here, dude. It's so good.
It really is, because Heyman wants Cena to be a Paul Heyman guy because he's already had an amazing career that we'll talk about when he gets his more than deserved Hall of Fame induction and everything else. But to say that I got the top guy of the past decade to compromise all of his ethics, to forsake his entire ideology, to be a Paul Heyman guy, if that's not a feather, forget a feather, that's an entire freaking quail stuffed in your cap. It's amazing. And Heyman wants it, and we'll see if he gets it, because now WWE's got me. I'm slowly starting to believe it. I just hope it doesn't end in disappointment yet again. So we'll see.
Yep.
Because this was so good, dude. Like, every of the preceding segments that we've complained about or harped on about for one reason or another, I feel like this was the antidote to all of that, because I felt so good after watching this. And Cena doesn't do it at first, and then I will say, like, but this is the definition of a nitpick. I didn't necessarily like that Heyman went almost the sophomoric route about talking about Cena's mom, but you know what? Everybody has a trigger, and I can understand.
No, dude, that's the thing though. He didn't. There was like, even on the frickin' recap that I'm reading here, it says something about how Heyman. Where is it? Heyman makes a mom joke. He didn't make a mom joke. He didn't insult Cena's mom. He said, "I would be so proud of you if I was your mother, if my son was born with a pair of testicles." He didn't insult Cena's mom. He insulted Cena. He said that Cena was nutless.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, Cena comes back in. He shoves Heyman. He's like, "Don't talk about my mama." And so yeah, I guess channeling his inner Brodus Clay in that moment there. And then Lesnar's music hits, and in the following minutes, we get all the reasons in the world why Brock Lesnar as world champion is just so right.
It's perfect.
Because, dude, he shows up, to your point, shows up wearing the belt as a champion should, around the freaking waist.
Yep.
Represent. Yep. And, dude, here's the thing, because I know it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't. But I'm curious if any listeners who listen, but maybe don't bother to comment, which your comments are always welcome, may consider us maybe just a little hypocritical for embracing Lesnar so much, and yet when Rock was the champion and he got his title, we weren't as enthusiastic. Well, my thing is, I mean, just look at Brock Lesnar. Like, to me, Rock has the personality where his type of schedule and the things that he does doesn't really mesh well, but with the type of personality that Lesnar has about not caring about anybody, about being a purely business-driven kind of guy, about being a competitor at the core, him having the part-time schedule and working the dates that he chooses to work, which he's getting a pretty penny for, which is a true fact, which makes the kayfabe character all the better knowing that. Everything just aligns so perfectly for this character.
Yeah.
And he is, I've said over and over and over again on so many episodes, Lesnar is a prize fighter. And every time he just has the look of it. Like, all he has to do is arrive, and people realize that compelling television is about to unfold. And he comes out, and it just seems like all him and Cena are going to do is just a stare down. Lesnar teases more of a physical altercation a few times, but ultimately, it's just a stare down. And Lesnar looks like he's going to leave, but then comes back again. Does his jump on the apron, which is so freaking cool because Lesnar does everything like a boss. And then, and probably the most epic part of the whole thing, Cena takes it to him, but it's still not enough. Because I'll be honest with you, Ashton, with the way that Cena was booked in the preceding weeks leading up to this, you know, between demolishing Bray Wyatt, to getting a hot tag and a six-man tag, and then the post-match AAing Rollins on an announce table, just looking unstoppable. I thought that he was going to like AA Lesnar and Lesnar was going to retreat, you know, show cowardly tendencies. That didn't happen. In fact, the best possible thing happened because Lesnar German Cena out of his boots and sent him out to the floor, and then he goes to collect Paul Heyman.
Yeah, and of course, the best part being, as he's going to collect Paul Heyman, John Cena attacks him from behind.
Yeah.
Again, experiencing heel tendencies that a true John Cena never would have done.
Exactly. Because John Cena, again, he's all about hustle, loyalty, respect. Well, a person with that kind of code is always going to opt for face-to-face confrontations when the opposition knows that the punch is coming.
Yep.
But he didn't abide by that code here. He abided by a very different code. The code of, I need to win at all costs. I cannot have this man beat me twice. So, you know what? I've kind of revised my desires for this whole program a little bit. I said that I didn't really want a very competitive match. I wanted a squash match on par with SummerSlam. I can take a competitive match. I'm going to revise it a bit. Contingent on the competitive aspect, the bulk of it being heel tendencies from Cena.
Yeah, I want eye pokes. I want him to try and get a win by grabbing the tights. I want John Cena to use as many heel tactics as possible.
Dude, I want him at one point to hit maybe like the second AA in the matchup, and then for good measure puts his feet on the ropes, the referee catches it, and Cena just explodes. Like, come on, man, just do this for me. I need this. Please make the count.
Yep.
Or there's a ref bump, and Cena's the one to go for a chair.
Yep.
Or the championship to knock off Lesnar's skull. If it is going to be competitive, if you want to really make it seem, because I've heard apparently that Vince wants Cena to be strong, this, that, and the other. I can tentatively accept that, but you need to make Cena bring out his worst. And you know what I want to see? Not only Lesnar have to overcome it, but Heyman all the while, even though he should be a
smiling.
bit put off by it. Yeah, exactly, smiling. He should be put off by it because Lesnar's struggling, but in the grander scheme of things, he's getting exactly what he wanted, and it's always about Paul Heyman first. Remember, he's turned on Brock Lesnar before, so I don't even think Brock Lesnar is Paul Heyman's top priority. Paul Heyman is Paul Heyman's top priority.
Absolutely.
So he wins either way.
Yep.
Let Cena dig to those depths. Let him know for once what rock bottom feels like I thought you were going to do when he lost to The Rock the first time at WrestleMania. Two-way rock bottom, so no pun intended. You need to do it here because it is so much more brilliantly laid out here than it's ever been that if you don't do it here, I will legitimately be heartbroken. In fact, I won't be saying anything because you will hear the sound of my heart cracking open for live reactions. It's just so good. And after your fan theory, which thanks a lot for that because then you really made me want it, everything is just coming together just so beautifully, dude. They have to finish it. They have to go all the way with this.
Absolutely. I think that this whole thing is leading up to a Cena Reigns match at Mania.
Dude, please. Because I'll tell you what, if that happens, all they would have to do is make Roman Reigns seem a little bit more human in the meantime, and if they can just do that, I think you have an amazing angle. Hell, even if you don't, just the idea that Cena is kind of the villain here, even without necessarily being the villain, like in every way, like this heel, it still works because it's John Cena, and we thought this day would never come. It's like the Christmas that was never supposed to be, but it comes, and like everybody's just so joyous. Like, I want this so bad. So we'll see. Cena gets the upper hand, but at what cost? That is the question.
The cost of his morality, John.
At the cost of his soul.
That's what it feels like, though, right?
Yeah, it really is. Like, it doesn't even seem like they're vying for the championship. Rather, the struggle is about the humanity of John Cena. You know, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm glad we got our discussion in about that. Up next was Cameron versus Naomi. Not a great match. Not an awful match, but it did have that one point where Cameron tried to pin Naomi, who was laying on her stomach at the time, which was hilarious. But yeah, Naomi wins via submission, and I still have no clue what to call the submission hold.
I don't either. I'm just so happy to see Naomi on my television. And you know what? Because the match was so bad, I'm not even going to say anything about the match because it was what it was. And just thank goodness Naomi got the win. I just want to take a second and praise Naomi. She is constantly reinventing her offense, and I think that is awesome. Like, she will not allow herself to get stale, if for no other department, the finisher department, which, given that it's the women's division on the main roster, I think that's the biggest thing you do have to worry about. It's not like there are going to be very few opportunities where you get to show much more than that. But Naomi is keeping herself fresh in that department. Plus, it makes anyone wonder, just like how Paige has done, between the Paige Turner, the Rampage, and now the PTO, like, how is Naomi going to win this match? So, kudos to her. She's definitely in the top three divas, I think, alongside Paige and AJ. For my favorites, like, on the main roster, she's just absolutely wonderful. I'd say Emma, but she hasn't even been anywhere, so it wouldn't even be fair. So, yeah, Naomi definitely takes that spot.
Yeah. Naomi is our last hope, save for Paige and AJ in the Divas division.
I hope she wins the title next year. I mean, if she wins it for the remainder of this year at some point, that'd be great too, but she's due for a run in my mind, and I really hope she gets it in 2015. I think 2015 will be Naomi's year. So, here's to hoping.
Here we go. Hey, I don't really have anything else to add on this match. Like I said, it was kind of funny when Cameron did the whole count it thing when she was laying on Naomi, who was on her stomach. But yeah, not really a lot to add.
There you go. We can move on.